also never heard, I don't know if anyone has, Bill Clinton talking so candidly about what was happening behind the scenes and how painful it was to have to go tell Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, they've never spoken about it, particularly him. I mean, he's never done an interview about it.
And what was that like? What was that interview like?
He was incredibly candid and emotional. And it was, intimidating for me to sit across from a former president and ask him about the biggest mistake he ever made in his life and how he handled that on an intimate, personal level with his marriage and his child. And, at one point I asked him, why did you take this risk? Why would you risk your presidency, your marriage, your relationship with your child? And he gave actually the most poignant, fascinating answer.
Okay, let's hear that. I think we have that clip. Take a listen.
Nobody sits down and thinks, I think I'll take a really irresponsible risk. It's bad for my family, bad for my country, bad for the people who work with me. That's not what happens. Everybody's life has pressures and disappointments and terrors, fears of whatever. Things I did to manage my anxieties for years. This is not a defense, it's an explanation. It was awful. I feel terrible about
There's so much there. I mean, he's talking about terrors, fears, anxieties, and that's an explanation for what he did. Did you come around to understand what he meant by all of that?
Well, I think, he starts by saying it's not like you wake up one morning and say, I want to risk my whole life. I mean, when we make bad decisions, it's because we have pain and we want to distract ourselves from the stress and the pain of our life. I mean, that could be applicable to drinking alcohol or, any kind of problem that we have.
He also talked in a different way than we've ever heard about the impact on Monica Lewinsky. So let's take a listen to that moment.
I feel terrible about the fact that Monica Lewinsky's life was defined by it, unfairly, I think. Over the years, I've watched her trying to get a normal life back again. But you got to decide how to define normal.
That's insightful. I mean, I think that she has said that she felt that he hasn't, taken ownership or apologized, but that was, just a little bit more sensitive than we've heard him speak before.
Yeah, I mean, I think to me he is apologizing. He's saying, I feel terrible about what happened to her life. But I do find it even more insightful that he recognizes, when something like this happens to someone, it's so hard to ever come back from that. I mean, she has been defined by this. And so in this one soundbite, he sums up her biggest struggle that she's had as a result of his behavior.